Morning, ladies and gentlemen. Just a reminder to please turn off or silence all your cell phones or electronic devices. This is a hearing of the Committee of Adjustment for the City of Thorold for Thursday, November 20th, 2025. Everyone present will be given an opportunity to speak for or against the applications being heard. Members of the public are welcome to speak to the planning matters before the committee today, specifically as they relate to the minor variance or land severance applications under consideration. Please ensure your comments focus on the relevant planning matters to which the committee is deciding on. When given a chance to speak, you will have 5 minutes, so please be sure to be as clear and consistent as possible. For your information, Committee of Adjustment is a public process. Personal information such as the applicant's name and property address, which is reported at the Committee of Adjustment meeting, is public information. Minutes of this Committee of Adjustment meeting will be received by Thorold City Council. Please address your comments and questions through the chair. A copy of the decision will be sent to the applicant or agent or to any person who files a written request. Please write your name, address, and file. You are here in the Zoom text box or on a piece of paper located in the council chambers. Agencies commenting on applications may request that certain conditions be imposed. Voicing objections to these conditions will not adversely affect the committee's decision. Committee of Adjustment is a quasi-judicial body operating under the Planning Act, the Municipal Act, and the Statutory Powers Procedure Act, as well as various provincial regulations. Sections 45 and 50 of the Planning Act outline the circumstances surrounding the approval of minor variances and controlling the conveyance of land in Ontario and the prevention of subdivision of land except with government approval. The applicant, the minister, or any specified person or public body who has an interest in the matter may, within 20 days of the making of the minor variance decision and 20 days from the date of the mailing of consent decision, appeal to the Ontario Land Tribunal. Please note, neighbors and other interested parties not defined by the Planning Act are no longer eligible to file appeals as per Bill 23, More Homes Built Faster Act 2022. I would ask the clerk to read the land acknowledgement, please.
Thank you. Through you, Mr. Chair. Just get this up on the screen. The City of Thorold is situated on treaty land. This land is steeped in the rich history of the First Nations, such as the Haudenosaunee, the Haudenosaunee, and the Anishinaabe, including the Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation. There are many First Nations, Métis, and Inuit people from across Turtle Island that live and work in Niagara today. The City of Thorold stands with all Indigenous people, past and present, in promoting the wise stewardship of the lands on which we live.
Thank you. Does any member of this panel have a pecuniary interest in any of the applications to be considered at this hearing? Nor do I. May I have a motion for the committee that the agenda be adopted as presented? Moved by Mr. Ravenek, seconded by Mr. Jackson. All in favor? Yep. May I have a motion that the minutes of October 16th, 2025 meeting be adopted? Moved by Mr. Daniels, seconded by Mr. DiPaolo. Any errors or omissions? All in favor? Thank you. There's notice given as required to the Planning Act. Madam Secretary Treasurer?
Yes.
Are there any requests for withdrawal or adjournment?
No.
Thank you. We will proceed. The first application is D10-15-2025.
Thank you. Through you, Mr. Chair. The consent application D10-15-2025 for lands known municipally as Rolling Meadows Phase 11 is seeking a severance and partial discharge of mortgage to create one new lot. The consent application is seeking to sever parts 1 and 2, which includes an easement in favor of the city and region for the use of a turning circle on Springcrest Way, from part 3, the proposed retained parcel. The lands are currently vacant. The severance will facilitate the sale of part 1 and 2, which is proposed to be a vacant plan of condominium application. The application was reviewed in accordance with Section 50, Sub 1 of the Planning Act against relevant provincial legislation and regional and municipal policy. Provincial planning statements directs municipalities provide a range and mix of housing options and the efficient use of land. As mentioned, the severance will facilitate the residential development and intensification of the severed lands. The lands are located within the neighborhoods of Rolling Meadows Secondary Plan and the residential and greenfield overlay of the City of Thorold Official Plan. The Niagara Official Plan and the City of Thorold Official Plans direct that development in greenfield lands support the target density of 50 residents and jobs combined per hectare. The intensification of the land, which has access to municipal water and wastewater services, will support this goal. Additionally, the City of Thorold official plan outlines requirements for a severance in the secondary plan area. For legal or technical reasons, or as long as the municipality is satisfied the severance does not prejudice the ultimate subdivision of the land. Planning staff have reviewed the application and are of the opinion that the proposal conforms to the criteria for consideration outlined in B18-15-6 and D421 of the official plan. Under the 2019 Comprehensive Zoning Bylaw, the lands are currently split zoned to a site-specific residential third density, or R3D 92, for Part 1 and 2, and future development for Part 3. Both the existing and created lots are of a size which can support development and be compliant with their respective zoning provisions, as required for the severance of the land as outlined in the zoning bylaw. The application was circulated to partner agencies and organizations. No objections were received against the application from any agency, organization, or member of the public. In summary, planning staff is supportive of the application. It is recommended that the committee approve the application subject to conditions for the severance and partial discharge of mortgage. Thank you.
Thank you. Who speaks on behalf of this application? If you could identify yourself, please.
Good morning, Mr. Chair, members of the committee. My name is Eric Beauregard. I'm a planner at Upper Canada Consultants, and I am representing the owner of the lands.
Thank you, Mr. Beauregard. Go ahead.
I've reviewed the reports, the recommendation that staff have provided. We have no questions or concerns. We recommend the same as staff's recommendation, and I'm available to answer any questions or concerns that the committee may have.
Thank you. Committee members? Quiet's good. Go ahead, Mr. Pizzo.
Move to accept D10, 15, 25, visited site, study, good comments from the city. I move that we accept.
Do we have a seconder? Mr. Jackson. Further questions or comments?
I just have one question.
Mr.
I don't know if
Daniels,
it's
go ahead.
So much related to the actual severance, but to the condo application, and just what's sort of the timeline on the condo application, and do we have a size? Like, what's the sort of background on it?
Through you, Mr. Chair, to the members of the committee, application, we are still going through pre-con process, and the application will come shortly thereafter.
Doesn't really, okay. Other questions?
Anything else? No? All in favor of the motion? Thank you, Mr. Beauregard. Second application, D1323, 2025, 1970 Polaway Road.
Thank you. Through you, Mr. Chair. The minor variance application D1323, 2025 for 1970 Polaway, seeking relief from the minimum lot size provisions in an agricultural zone. The subject property, an existing lot of record, is currently deficient in respect to the minimum lot size. All other provisions of the zoning bylaw are met. Specifically, the application is seeking relief to reduce the minimum lot size from 40 hectares to a minimum lot size of approximately 6.6 hectares. The requested relief has also been submitted to fulfill a condition of the consent application D10-9-2025 for 11 Barron Road, which received provisional consent in August of this year. 1970 Polaway Road is benefiting from a conveyance from 1111 Barron Road of approximately 2.6 hectares, which will increase the property from 4 hectares to approximately 6.6. Staff have reviewed the application in respect to the Planning Act, provincial legislation, and regional and municipal policy. Under Section 45(1) of the Planning Act, the committee may grant the requested relief if the proposal demonstrates conformity with the 4-part test. In regard to meeting the general intent of the official plans, the lot is located in agricultural and prime agricultural areas of the City of Thorold official plan and Niagara official plans, respectively. The lands are not currently used for agricultural production, and therefore no agricultural productivity will be lost as a result of the variance. With regard to meeting the general intent of the zoning bylaw, the bylaw outlines that lands impacted by a severance must be compliant with the provisions of the existing zone. This variance will bring the lands into compliance with the zoning bylaw. With regard to the appropriateness of the application, 1970 Holloway Road currently operates a legal non-conforming use of a kennel. In 2024, an expansion of use was granted through a minor variance. This application and the addition of lands will not facilitate a further expansion of legal non-conforming use. And finally is the variance minor in nature. No new development or change of use is proposed for the lands, and the application will help to facilitate the increase of the lot size, bringing it into greater compliance. The application was circulated to partner agencies and organizations. No objections or comments were received against the application from any agency, organization, or member of the public. In summary, planning staff are supportive of the application, and we recommend that the committee approve the application for its requested relief. Thank you.
Thank you. Who speaks on behalf of this application, please? If you could come forward and identify yourself. No one here? No one online, Mr. Clerk?
Through you, Mr. Chair. So if anyone of the attendees wishes to speak to this, if you can please raise your hand and you'll be permitted to speak. Okay, so we do have a hand up, Mr. Chair. I'm just letting them in now. So it's taking a second. Okay, so if you can unmute and put your video on and identify yourself, please.
Oh, there's some faces. Always good to have faces. Can we hear you?
Can you hear it?
Yes, we can hear you. The Kutus are here with us. Nope, you're gone again.
Okay. Through Mr. Chair, yep, they're unmuted again. Okay.
Great, great. Do you have anything to add to the report?
Basically, we're just using the land for more pasture for the horses. That's the primary use.
Okay, great. Questions, comments from the committee members? Mr. Pizzo.
Can you not put more stuff up in the board page? Can't follow this?
Through you, Mr. Chair. Sorry, what are you looking to have up, Mr. Pizzo?
We've got 25 pages here and
There's no way to put 25 pages up. I put the motion. What page specifically do you want up?
while he's talking, while he's bringing it up, we can see it up in the board.
I can put the motion up. If you have a specific page you want me to put up from the report, I can.
Through
More
you,
important to see the Kutus, I think.
yeah.
Go ahead,
Well, and
Mr.
through you,
DiPaolo.
Chair, just to that comment, maybe we can take a look at the drawing at least and take a look at what are we, where does that go? Could we bring that up?
Yep, 1 second.
Maybe the next page, Nicholas. There we go. Is that what you'd like to see, Mr. DiPaolo?
Yeah, through you, Chair.
All right.
Could maybe the staff take us through what they were looking at here and how they came to their conclusions?
Yes, so as you can see, there's part 1, 2, and 3. Part 2 is part of 1111 Barron Road, and in August, they applied for consent so that part 3 can be conveyed to part 1. It was provisionally granted, and now the lot is increasing in size, but it will, as a result, be still deficient in the minimum lot size requirement of the zoning bylaw for an agricultural zone. So this application is just bringing it into compliance, as it was a condition of the consent. Also, 1111 Barron Road received a minor variance for their reduction of lot size as a result of the consent in August as well.
Is there any common relationship between the two properties of ownership?
No.
Okay. And so just for clarity, then we're adding part 2 now. Is that what we're doing?
Adding part 3 to part 1.
Part 3. Sorry, part 3. Right. And there's no buildings on part 3.
No.
All right. So at the end of the day, it'll look like this big T, kind of. Perfect. Thank you.
Any further questions or comments? Mr. Ravenek?
I'll make a motion that the application, D 1323-2025 be approved based on a review of the cost presented by the period and having conducted a site visit, and the reasons stated in the planning report and the conditions stated in the planning report.
Thank you, Mr. Ravenek. Do we have a seconder for that? Mr. Pizzo? Further questions or comments? Seeing none, all in favor of the motion? Passed. Thank you to the Coutus.
Thank you.
D10, 18, 2025, 24, 20, no, that's not, we're doing that last, aren't we? Yes. No problem. As he adjusts his glasses. D 22, 2025, 13126 Highway 20.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Through you. We're looking at a minor variance application to facilitate a commercial development at 13126 Highway 20. They're requesting relief from the minimum interior side yard, planting strip, and loading requirements under the C5 zone in the comprehensive zoning bylaw. The subject property is located along Highway 20 within the highway commercial area designated by the city's official plan. The applicant's intention is to develop a quick service restaurant with drive-through and a separate 650 square meter commercial building on the property. The requested reliefs are as follows. 1, to reduce the minimum interior side yard for a commercial structure from 7.5 to 4.5 meters on the east side. 2, to reduce the minimum planting/buffer strip from 5 to 2.8 meters on the east side. 3, to reduce the minimum planting/buffer strip from 5 to 1.55 meters on the west side. And finally, to reduce the number of required loading spaces from 2 to 1. As Ms. Kopp identified, under Section 45(1) of the Planning Act, the committee may grant the requested relief if the proposal demonstrates conformity with the 4-part test. As it relates to the official plans, both the Niagara and City of Thorold official plans direct planning authorities to capitalize on the strategic nature of the site's location and promote commercial activities. The proposal aims to facilitate the development of a quick service restaurant and drive-through with the a detached commercial building. Given the irregular shape of the parcel, the commercial potential of the lands is maximized through these requested reliefs. As it relates to the zoning bylaw, the subject lands are zoned highway commercial within the comprehensive zoning bylaw, and lands are placed within this zone to, quote, recognize the historic commercial corridor along Highway 20 and to, quote, provide additional commercial opportunities. The requested relief does not alter the city's vision for the type of business located on the subject lands. Rather, the relief seeks to facilitate multiple commercial uses along a significant transportation corridor. It's important to note that despite the commercial/retail description of the 656 square meter proposed building in Figure 2, only commercial uses in accordance with the comprehensive zoning bylaw will be permitted. Additional uses may be permitted through a zoning bylaw amendment application at a later date. Finally, as it relates to being minor in nature, addressing the planting and buffer strip and the side yard together, these provisions are intended to ensure adequate separation from neighboring properties and for noxious effect mitigation, such as noise, odor, or visual impacts. As described in the report, the development will be subject to site plan control, through which these impacts will be addressed and conditions imposed to minimize any negative effects. An attenuation of fencing is an example of what would be required along all of the affected property lines to ensure the impact from a reduced side yard and planting strip is minimal. As it relates to the loading space provision, this provision within our zoning bylaw applies to each use, not the total property. So the proposal requires an additional loading space to accommodate the separate restaurant and commercial uses, despite the fact that only one space would be required for a commercial development of this size. Planning staff are of the opinion that there's still adequate space to address the loading concerns for all of the businesses within that area in a commercial capacity. Finally, as it relates to the appropriateness of the development, the proposal seeks to permit the commercial development of lands located along Highway 20, designated and zoned appropriately within the City of Thorold official plans and comprehensive zoning bylaw. Control measures of created nuisances, such as noise mitigation, will be addressed through site plan control at a later stage prior to construction. We did receive one public comment, which was addressed in the report. And just to summarize, many of those concerns will be addressed through the site plan control process of council. The other concerns that don't fall under site plan control are either addressed through the minor variance that's being sought or fall outside of the purview of the planning department considerations. In summary, we recommend approval of the requested reliefs subject to the conditions outlined in the report, and I'm happy to answer any questions that the committee may have. Thank you.
Thank you. Who speaks on behalf? If you could identify yourself, please.
Good morning, Mr. Chair. I'm Ethan Lamont. I'm a senior planner with Upper Canada.
Thank you. Go ahead if you have anything to add.
I'm just here in support of staff's recommendation and analysis, and here to answer any questions if there are any.
Thank you. Committee members? Mr. Daniels.
All right. Just a few questions. I'm sure everyone else is probably going to have some sort of the same. Traffic analysis. Highway 20 is a one-lane road. We have a one entrance in and out for a drive-through and a commercial area. I'm just concerned. My concern is basically the fire routes. Having one entrance going in and out of a high-traffic drive-through, which we can see over in the corner of Pine and Sullivan, that the traffic there is just getting kind of out of hand. But apart from that, you're only about 150 meters, 200 meters away from the roundabout, which to me, you're going to have stacking of traffic. Has there been any traffic analysis done with stacking in the area?
Through the chair to the question, I'm not sure whether specific analysis in terms of stacking was done. With respect to fire requirements, there's a fire route accommodated on site, and the fire department would be reviewing those specific details through the site plan process.
To Ethan's response, it's William Hykup. I'm the planning manager with Upper Canada Consultants. So Highway 20 is an MTO controlled access highway. As part of the site plan approval process, we ultimately need to address MTO's requirements, and that includes preparation of a traffic study. That is subject to their review and comment through the site plan control process. And included within that traffic report will be an analysis on the number of stacking spaces. The MTO has specific requirements that actually exceed the city's bylaw requirements in terms of traffic spaces. So we have consulted with the MTO, and prior to the site plan approval process, we will need to have a traffic analysis prepared and supported by the MTO. From my perspective, the requests in front of you today are not pertinent to that traffic flow. There's a separate process under the site plan control process that has to be approved by both city staff and MTO staff. So I hope
Okay.
that provides some more information.
All right, I still have just one more question.
ahead.
About it seems like we're trying to cram a lot into one site, and it's the only site from, I would say, Black Horse Corners to Thorold Town Line Road on that side. It's a great opportunity because it's a clear open corridor, and it looks like it's going to be developed once this area is developed. But my concern, I guess, would also be that like the development of the site it's not due to like height or massing, it's due to like the functional tightness, right? So if we give this sort of approval, the next site that comes in, could it be tighter? I'm just curious because there's a lot of room there, and we're trying to fit a lot into one site.
Through you, Mr. Chair, yeah, so I can understand where you're coming from, and when I look at the variances in front of you, I look at it from an impact perspective. So why this property is able to advance with development ahead of the rest of the properties along Highway 20 is it does have access to a water main connection back through into the Rolling Meadow subdivision, whereas the city has an active environmental assessment where they are planning to install a water main down the rest of Highway 20. This would open up development for the rest of the site. So as you can see in the site plan provided, we've prepared a development scheme. And when you look at the variances that are in front of you today, we're looking for a side yard setback for the proposed retail plaza. And the interface with that site is directly adjacent to another highway commercial site that is also zoned. So when you look at the proposed setback, it provides ample sufficient space for access around that side of the building. It also provides for the spatial separation requirements for openings and windows under the Ontario Building Code. So and that is a requirement that we have to meet from a spatial separation perspective at the property line. So there is no impact to the adjacent neighbor's property to the east in order for us to, if we were to receive approval from you today, that would not impact the neighbor's ability to provide for a building in the location that the zoning permits for. Each application, should someone else come forward for similar zoning relief, has to be reviewed based on its own merits. So I can't speak to what someone else might propose down the line. What I can speak to is this application. And when you look at the variances proposed, we feel that it does meet the 4 tests of the Planning Act, that it doesn't impact the adjacent properties and therefore meets those 4 tests.
Thank you.
Sorry, just
Go ahead,
one other
Mr.
thing. Sorry, I lost my train of thought there. Just one other thing. Is there any discussions with the neighboring property? Like, because it just seems like if this site was slightly bigger, I mean, you could have an in and an out. For me, having one in with no turning lane on a 1-lane highway and a McDonald's and a retail place, just the congestion of traffic. And if we approve this today, person next to it is going to say, oh, okay, we're going to open another commercial space. And it's going to be a 1 in, 1 out. And we're just setting ourselves up here for something that, to me, it's a non-functional site. Like I'm just trying to reference back to, like, obviously we can't really just do it based on it, but with the McDonald's over in Thorold here, it's like that building, you go through that drive-through, the whole half of the side of the building's been taken off because a car's hitting it, because it wasn't functionally correct when they did the drive-through the way we're showing it here, right? To me, the functionality of the site, to me, just doesn't meet that test. But I mean, that's my perspective, my opinion, right? I don't know everyone else's opinion, but I'll leave the floor open for more questions.
Thank you. Mr. DiPaolo.
Through you, Chair, I just want to make sure that I think I heard a comment from the gentleman in terms of the application. The Committee of Adjustment, one of our variables that we do look at is the thing appropriate for the community and the neighborhood. So even though some of the things may be done through site planning, when we're here today, we want to make sure we do have an interest in making sure that we're all, that the development really is appropriate for the neighborhood and the community as a whole, and is the land use. So that's kind of why we want clarification, we ask questions. Could I ask you take us through the diagram here, point out exactly where you're going, what you want to do, because you said it was the plaza, not the restaurant. Did I catch that wrong? Or where is it that you are looking for the variance on here? Can you point that out in this diagram, please? And if maybe the clerk can make it a little bit bigger, that might help us all see where we're going.
Certainly, through you, Mr. Chair. Yeah, so specifically, there's a couple variances in front of you today, but the side yard setback of what we're looking for relief for in terms of building placement is the side yard setback on the right side of the building. So we have a 4.52 meter setback between that retail plaza on the right and the side property line. So that's the one variance that we're looking for. The other...
Sorry, just the one that's labeled future use, correct? Just so everybody's following?
Future retail building.
I just want to make sure we're all on the, right, perfect.
So the other one that we're looking for is a reduction to the landscape buffer. So that is directly in front of the McDonald's, adjacent to the smaller property in the front. We're proposing a landscape buffer of 1.55 meters, or just over 5 feet, between the drive aisle and the rear property line of that neighboring property, which we feel is sufficient to provide enough landscape buffering between the driveway and the rear property line. We can certainly get a row of coniferous trees in there that will provide ample screening, in addition to a fence that would be put along there. In terms of the functionality of the site, we have had discussions with MTO because we had a similar desire to have two accesses from Highway 20 to the site, and the MTO was very clear with us that they would only permit one access, and we are subject to their corridor requirements along Highway 20. So basically the way this works is you drive in the main center access. You would, let's say you're going through the drive-through, you would go to the back of the site, you would enter into the dual lane order station and come around the side of the building. Now that aisle width along the side of the building is 4.5 meters, which is quite wide. And if you can pan to the top of the image, so you can see at the narrow part of the drive-through on the left side of the McDonald's, is that dimension is 4.5 meters. A typical lane on a highway is around 3 meters wide. So we have quite a bit of extra space in that narrow location. And then it actually widens out to a full 6 meters. And that's really to allow for what we call as an escape lane. So that if someone is ordering and they don't have money, or for whatever reason they have to get out of the queue, they can actually, there's enough space there to actually get around and then come through around the front of the building and get back to the main access. So that's kind of the functionality of it. So we've worked with McDonald's in-house team in terms of the design characteristics to ensure that there's proper vehicular movement, and ultimately, as I indicated, it's subject to the MTO's review and approval through that site plan process. So we feel that there's very good functionality. We've worked through that with McDonald's, and we're going to ultimately be getting the acceptance from the MTO because we've had those preliminary discussions with them. We understand their requirements as it relates to the ingress and egress from the site.
Okay, could I stand and point to just make sure I'm on the same page for a second here with you guys?
Sure.
So bear with me here for a second, and I don't need to be Perry Mason, but I just want to make
He had more hair.
that we're all here. So this is we're asking for a change here, correct?
Yes, a reduced landscape buffer.
Right. And so down below this is another property,
Correct,
and that's where there's a home there.
correct. So if I may, that property is actually zoned as a highway commercial property as well. So that existing residential dwelling currently has a legal non-conforming status under the zoning.
Okay. And this is where you're gonna say, these are the trees I think that you're gonna plant here and things like that.
No, those are what are on the adjacent property. Where that word landscape is, we would be putting a whole row of coniferous cedars or tree that would grow very mature, and there would also be a wood board fence along that property line.
I just wanted to be sure
No, happy to provide clarification, absolutely. That's why we're here.
Mr. Pizzo.
I'm just concerned about, do you have any problem with 17? It'll be done right away, the barrier, the fence, and
Yes, certainly. So,
won't be one of these lingering,
well, we would, from a construction process, we would certainly have to service the site first, but I can take your concern back to the owner. That's something, the landscaping usually follows the installation of the asphalt and the parking and drive aisles, but I can talk to the owner and see if we can put up the wood board-on-board fence on the property line first to provide that buffering, and then allow for the construction process to come in with the landscaping.
Jim, I just don't want to wait 6 months down the road, it's gonna be a place, till you put them in, so I'd like to see it done right away.
Certainly.
Mr. Davidson.
Through you, Mr. Chair, I would just add that it is also going through the site plan process as well. And we would be holding securities and the like to ensure that the works are accomplished, so. No, but that will deal with the form of the development and when the landscaping will go in. That will all be dealt with through the site plan agreement as well.
Thank you.
There's a member of public that wants to.
Yes, I'll get to you, ma'am. Thank you. Questions or comments, further questions, comments from the committee members? No.
One more.
Mr. Daniels.
Yeah, sorry. The arrows on the site, those are the flow arrows of where the water's going? So,
That's correct.
so everything's discharging to the back of that house over there?
Yes, there's an existing city easement, an existing storm sewer that was set up through the Rolling Meadows Phase 12 subdivision to accommodate this flow. So,
Okay, so it's accommodated for all the hardened surfaces?
exactly.
Okay.
Ma'am, would you like to add something? Please come to the microphone. Identify yourself, please.
Hi, I'm the owner of that little corner property.
Okay, welcome.
I just sent in my request and then with my concern. Sorry, it's my first time here.
That's okay, you're doing
and
fine.
then my concern is they reduce the setback of my property. Definitely disinfect my property's value because it's traffic driving through right behind my property. The headlights, the noise controls, the plaza's lighting and drainage, snow removing, piling, and then fence transposing. All of this would be my biggest concern to disvalue my property, especially when they reduce the setbacks. Really not comfortable from at least I'm a realtor, at least from realtor perspective of value, at least it's a $200,000 reduction. So how do the developer gonna compensate my cost in terms of, I definitely require for 9 to 10 feet wood fence. That's minimum required. And then where they're gonna pile snows and then how they control the noise, what's the operational hours they're gonna cooperate with the neighbor or join that with them. I understand the zoning of my property is non-conformity use, commercial one property, but right now it's still a residential unless I change it eventually. But so there will be a tenants, or I won't live there, but there will be a tenants effect. So how they gonna juggle with my request or my concern? That's my biggest thing. And then those are huge, like in the plaza, those lights at nighttime is still on. So how they gonna accommodate that with my concern? That's my thing. I love that development going into that place because it definitely will help the neighborhood, which we needed. I'm not here to against the development. We just want to know what the solutions they can come up with. I dealt with your company, very knowledgeable company, absolutely. So I just have a little concern with a little minor property over here, that's it, all right? The drainage, mine is not connected to municipal water because it seems like a huge sand puzzle. Well, they're gonna be connected, the water and stuff like this. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Mr.
you.
Planner.
Through you, Mr. Chair. Yeah, so we hear your concerns and we did address them through the report. So I encourage you to read the report and you'll see how we kind of address your concerns. Many of, as I think we hopefully made clear, this will be going through a separate kind of public process through the site plan control. So there will be kind of some, the agreement will take care of a lot of the concerns. So yeah, like I say, I encourage you to just read that section of the report to.
Do you have an idea what section? Because I'm Chinese. It's hard for me to read all of this.
There is it's a response to public comments section.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
If I may just
Go
add
ahead.
to that, Mr. Chair. Yeah, so of course, the site plan control process. So part of that is we have to produce what's called a lighting and photometric plan. That lighting and photometric plan does a model based on the lumens produced from the lights that are proposed on the site. Through that process, that photometric reading, we are not allowed to have any light trespass that goes beyond the property line. So we have to prove to city engineering staff through that process that there is no light trespass going over the property line that would affect any of the adjacent owners. So again, that's something that will be addressed through that process, but I just wanted to explain a little bit more how we're not allowed to have that light trespass. Thank you.
And you're available to any further questions. They could contact your office and.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Mr. Pizzo.
Looked into all these issues, snow removal.
So where would the snow be piled here?
So I believe and maybe the consultant can speak better to this. And again, this will be better addressed through site plan control. So nothing is kind of finalized in terms of the orientation. I believe the snow removal will either be kind of in the north part of the lot near where the drive-through entrance is, or the kind of commercial parking spaces to the east of that. I think maybe Mr. Haiku can speak to that better.
Yeah, actually, they're like partially yes, but also there's a large landscaped area or grassed area at the front along Highway 20. If you could pan down to there, so you can see that gray dashed line off the front setback. So the MTO has what's called a 14-meter control where we're not allowed to place any buildings, or we're not allowed to have any parking that qualifies to meet the zoning requirement. So those parking spaces at the front there are surplus beyond our requirement. We just felt it would be good to provide them. Additional to that, there's a very large landscaped area, so that will be the predominant snow storage location, in addition to some of the smaller landscaped areas.
Okay. So my other follow-up question, which grade is higher, McDonald's parking lot or the neighboring house?
So right now, the neighboring house is a bit higher. So we will be altering the grade a little bit, but the predominantly, as you can see from those larger arrows, the drainage goes to the back. So we can't block off any drainage that is coming from the adjacent property. We have to accommodate that, take it into our system, and then convey it to the appropriate outlet. So there's a series of swales and drainage systems that will accommodate any of the drainage from that. But yes, generally the grade is higher at Highway 20 and falls back. It's generally a pretty flat site, and to the naked eye, you're not going to notice it too much, but it does fall a couple feet to the back.
Yeah, just my only concern is when you're piling snow that close to the road allowance is that it becomes a visual distraction. Neighboring property trying to pull out of their driveway, and also that snow, when it melts, it's actually going back towards, because it's not going to go into the concrete, it's going to go to the concrete and then back towards the neighboring property.
Like, we have to create swales that slope away from the adjacent property line. So if there's snow in that front area, when it melts, it's going to hit that swale, and we're going to convey it interior to the site before it spills off onto someone else's
So
property.
it's going to fill, but that's where I get back to the functionality of the site. For me, that's just my opinion, my perspective, is that the functionality of the site, if we can't accommodate small things like this, but we're accommodating all the parking, all the drive, and we're accommodating everything else, and we're forgetting about the four things. Like, for me, it just, maybe that's just my personal opinion. I'm not sure how the other committee members feel, but.
If I may, Mr. Chair, to be honest, I feel like the four tests are specific to the variances themselves, not to the overall site plan. Like, I don't know how to say this in a different way. That entire functionality, all of those components are dealt with through the site plan process. What we're looking at now is a reduced side yard setback, reduced landscape buffer. So I hear what
Understood.
you're saying. I hear what you're saying, and I understand your concern. I'm just, what we're presenting and what we have in front of you tonight isn't part of that.
So understood, but the functionality of the site depends on the variances that we would be providing you, correct?
Not necessarily. If you don't provide or approve these variances, we would have to go back and revise the plan to comply with the zoning, and off we would go.
All right, thank you.
Mr. Pizzo.
Are you upset because we're asking you questions? You say that the planning department's gonna look at, is asking the question. That's why you're here.
Thank you. That's okay. Mr. Greverson.
Yeah, like I think we should focus on as Mr. Hycoop said, the variances in front of us. And yes, we're evaluating kind of the appropriateness of the variances specific to the development. So yeah, the site functionality will be taken care of and further addressed through site plan.
Thank you. Mr. Revenek.
Okay, so just to clarify here, we're here to discuss the setbacks on the east and the west side. The reduction of those buffer zones is going to increase the functionality of the property. It makes it a little bit bigger. It's really no different than looking at the Tim Hortons and McDonald's across the street. There's that strip of evergreen trees in between those two properties. I presume that on both sides of the east and the west is always going to be commercial. Mm-hmm. And the concern that the neighboring lady had about I think the north side of her property is a driveway, so there probably won't be snow removal stacked in the driveway. And I see from looking at your response to resident concerns that there's going to be fencing or something to prevent headlights from shining it into that property. So that I hope that kind of clarifies everything here.
Committee members, if you're satisfied.
I through you, Chair, I just, can talk me through the loading space requirement, because I see that on here as well, from 2 to 1. Is that a variance? We need to give a variance for the loading space requirement?
Yeah, through you, Mr. Chair. So the way the loading space requirement works under the comprehensive zoning bylaw is that it's a formula calculation based off of the square footage of the use. So for a commercial development this size, if it was just one kind of use, that would be one loading space. Given the fact that we've got the quick service restaurant with the separate commercial, that's why we have to have that, or they're requesting the one space relief.
Because the formula does dictate 2.
Yes, it would have dictated 2 based on.
That's what I wanted clarity on. It does, based on the space and everything, the use and the extra building and.
Yeah, so I guess that's the nuance in it is if it was just one type of use and it was just the commercial, then it would just be one loading space for this entire size development. Because there's the 2 separate types, that's where the calculation, you almost need to do the calculation twice, and that's where the additional loading space comes from.
Thank you.
Mr. Pizzo.
I heard enough. You said the building department's gonna look at all these deficiencies he claims, right? Just a yes or no?
Through you, Mr. Chairman, that it would be holistic. It would be building, it would be fire, it would be engineering, it would be planning. So it's the entirety of staff, and in this case, it would be MTO as well.
The lighting, the barrier will go up right away, you're saying, right? Okay, I'll make a motion to accept. What the number? I was just gonna say the number. Okay. I didn't bring my glasses. 13, 22, 25. Highway 20, Thorold. I move the acceptance of the report. Well done.
We have a seconder. Mr. Jackson? Further questions or comments? Seeing none, all in favor of the motion? Opposed? So noted. There you go, folks.
Thank you. Hopefully this one is a little easier.
We're going to turn it back over to Ms. Cobb if it is.
Yeah, she should have handled this.
I think so. All right, one last one. D10 18 2025 2426 Claremont Street, Thorold.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Through you, this is a consent to sever the existing manse residence from the St. Andrew's Presbyterian Church at 2426 Claremont Street. The lands are designated as downtown transitional within the official plan and zoned minor institutional in the comprehensive zoning bylaw. A rezoning of the created residential property is proposed as a condition of the consent. Additionally, city staff recommend imposing a condition requiring Heritage Thorold to review any updates, if required, to the cultural heritage designations and the bylaw of the lands. The application was reviewed in accordance with Section 51 of the Planning Act against relevant provincial legislation and regional and municipal policy. In reviewing the provincial planning statement from 2024, planning authorities are directed to support the development of complete communities by providing an appropriate range and mix of housing types. In this goal, planning facilities should, quote, facilitate all types of residential intensification, including the development of underutilized commercial and institutional sites, end quote. Within the Niagara official plan, new residential development and residential intensification is encouraged to, quote, meet housing needs at all stages of life, end quote. The city of Thorold is projected to account for 1,600 new dwelling units through intensification by 2051. As part of this intensification, 60% of all new residential dwellings will occur in the existing built-up area. The severance of the property deemed surplus by an institutional use supports the intensification goals of the Niagara official plan, and it supports the further intensification of the downtown core, identified as a priority within regional and municipal policy. As it relates to the City of Thorold official plan, lots may be created in the downtown transitional area through consent, provided the severance is in keeping with the objectives for the area and in accordance with the City of Thorold's general criteria for new lots by consent. Planning staff have reviewed the application and are of the opinion that the proposal conforms to the criteria for the Committee of Adjustment consideration outlined in D4.2.1. And finally, the comprehensive zoning bylaw. St. Andrew's Presbyterian Church, built in 1883 and designated under the Ontario Heritage Act in 2002, is situated on its original legal non-conforming lot in the I-2 zone of the comprehensive zoning bylaw. We won't be requiring a rezoning or minor variance to bring that site in conformity. However, given that residential uses are precluded as the primary use on institutional lots, we will recommend implementing a condition to ensure the rezoning of the resulting residential lot, the part 3 on figure 2 here. In summary, planning staff are supportive of the proposed consent to 2426 Claremonts, subject to the proposed conditions, and I just want to make a note that we would just like to slightly change the wording on condition 7 in that report to reflect some of the heritage protections. So we just like the Heritage Thorold Committee to review both the church and the resulting residents for their heritage considerations, and if necessary, update the bylaws. I'm happy to answer any questions that the committee might have, and I'll turn it back over to you.
Thank you. Thank you. Who speaks on behalf of this application, please? If you could come forward. Identify yourself.
Through you, Mr. Chair, I'm just letting Mr. Brendan Graham in right now.
I think there are people here that are going to come forward. You could identify yourself, stranger?
My name is John Henderson. I'm an elder and trustee at St. Andrew's Presbyterian Church, but I would defer to Mr. Graham to speak on our behalf, if I could, sir.
All right.
I'm just letting him in now.
Thank you.
Hello, Chair and committee members. My name is Brendan Graham. I'm a project manager at Landex Developments, and I am here on behalf of St. Andrew's Presbyterian Church.
Welcome, Mr. Graham. You go ahead now.
Perfect, thank you. So I'll be brief in my statement. So I am here today in support of the church's application for a severance for the existing dwelling located at 26 Claremont Street. Completion of the severance and zoning amendment will ultimately enable the sale of this existing dwelling, which will support the financial sustainability of this important community institution. We're supportive of staff's positive recommendation, and I'm happy to answer any questions the committee or the chair may have. Thank you.
Thank you. Committee members. Mr. Pizzo.
It's nice to see all the seniors in town. John, nice to see you. I have a question. I used to hear uptown all the time is the windows. Is there a problem with the windows, John? Or I should be...
Through the chair, I'm not aware of any specific problems with the windows, but John, I'm happy to defer to John to elaborate on any matters related to the church there. So.
I'm not just sure how all this is addressed, because I'm totally a fish out of water here in this situation, but they did address the window situation with regard to the windows on the east side of the sanctuary. When we had a site plan engineer come on site, there was some concern with regard to the amount of glass exposure to the distance in relationship to the distance to the new lot line. When the engineer reviewed the interior of the building, the structure of the interior of the building, the walls separating the sanctuary from the halls and the lower areas, he was satisfied that the area was adequate and the fire was not going to be an issue with regard to the glass on the east side. And a report, I think, was presented to Landex Development in that regard through the engineer that we hired to help to prepare the site plan.
That's correct. And just quickly through the chair to expand on that. So, just to clarify, that is with respect to the OBC spatial separation requirements. So as John mentioned, we worked closely with our architect and code consultant to ensure that the lot line was located in such proximity from the church to avoid any impacts to the existing windows on the east side of the church.
Thank you. Further questions or comments? Mr. Daniels?
If there's no other questions, can I make the motion?
You sure can.
That's approved. All right, I'd like to make the motion that application D10-18-2025 be approved based on the review of the pertinent information and comments presented at this hearing, having conducted a site visit and for the reasons stated in the planning report.
The amended conditions are part of your motion.
Yes.
Thank you. Do we have a seconder for that, Mr. Ravenek? Further questions or comments from anyone? Public? All in favor of the motion? Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Any other business? Secretary Treasurer? Okay, Mr. Pizzo.
Going on with that mold situation in the last, has it been, everything been done on that house?
From 2 applications ago, the property standards.
Gave 'em 45 days to rectify the situation?
Yeah, through you, Mr. Chair, we'd have to check with bylaw department and follow up with them. But I can follow up with them and send you an email later if you like.
I'd like to know what happened. I'd like to know if it's been done. If
Thank you.
you're gonna send something out?
Yes.
I'll follow up for you.
Thank you.
Mr. Ravenek?
Yeah, just one point here. Having the diagrams up on the screen is very beneficial. Unfortunately, in order to reference them, Mr. DiPaolo had to go up there. So I don't know whether in the future we can have like a laser pointer so that the applicant can also point to make things a little bit clearer for us, because that site plan was a little bit confusing trying to understand where all the property lines were.
Mr. Davidson, is there room in the budget for a laser pointer?
Through you, Mr. Chair, I made a note about a laser pointer, so I think we can have that taken care of for you.
All right.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to tell him, say, Mr. DiPaolo, that's sacred.
Well, Jay was looking at him. There was almost a confrontation. I don't know.
I asked for it. He came around the front, he didn't come up behind.
All right.
Yeah, the Perry Mason reference was
Anything else, folks? Staff?
Just want to recognize Courtney for a minute in doing a splendid job at preparing the notes for us. So thank you, Courtney.
Thank you.
Well done. Next meeting is
December 18th?
December 18th.
Yep.
Motion to adjourn. Mr. Daniels? There was a race to that, wasn't it? Thanks, everybody.